guys, welcome to yet another episode of Afreecanah. This is actually episode 5, still on season 1. Thank you so much for tuning in. Afreecanah is a platform where we share experiences and perspectives towards a free mind and a free life. A lot of you have been asking why this? And just to explain a bit of background is that, if you don't know better, you don't do better. If you don't know more, you don't do more. And this platform is a space where young Africans share experiences in the hopes that in your path towards gaining freedom the way you see it, this information will accelerate your journey. If not, also grow your network. Today, we have a very special guest. A guest I got to meet 3 weeks ago through a friend, and it was our journey as young ladies to gain financial literacy. And I met her, and I'll let her introduce herself, and you'll get to know a bit more about our story as we go on with the episode. Welcome. Introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Charlene Kimara. Professionally, I go by Mama Bima. I'm a financial consultant specializing in risk mitigation through insurance products, investments advisory, retirement planning, and I'm a financial wellness trainer. I'm very passionate about promoting financial literacy and walking the journey, especially with younger adults, people in their 20s. And that's how our paths crossed with Clara. So, and I'm very happy to be a part of Afreecanah today. I like to promote the discussion around money matters. So I'm very happy to be here today.
Awesome, thank you. And as you were introducing yourself and what you do, these talks of wellness, these talks of literacy, and this brings me to ask, what is financial health? What's financial health in a nutshell?
Financial health is basically the state of affairs of your personal financial matters. Yeah. Okay? So your money matters, but from a 360 angle, so we are talking your debt management or your debt status. Yeah. How is your debt? We are talking about your savings, so are you doing savings, Yeah. We are talking about even your budget, like your income vis-a-vis your expenses, like on a monthly basis. We are also talking about your retirement planning. So financial health is that, and when you look at your financial matters all round, your income, do you have a steady income? Are you able to track like how much is coming in? At the same time, are you able to track how much is going out? Yeah. Do you have debt? Is it manageable? Yeah. Are you doing like your monthly repayments and so on? Out of your expenses, on a monthly basis, are you able to also put aside money for your savings? So are you meeting your short-term goals, your short-term financial goals, your mid-term goals, and also your long-term goals such as retirement planning, which is a part of our financial plan that we really neglect, especially when we are young. I think the reality of retirement only comes probably when you're in your 40s,
Yeah, it's so far-fetched though, because right now you've started you're in the game, you've entered a room. When you enter the room, it's the first. Very few people think, okay, if in case of a fire, where would I exit? A lot of people are just so happy to be there, You're happy, you're looking at the paintings. So I think that's what happens, especially in my perspective. When I started earning, Actually, not even when I started earning.
Yes.
Until 3 weeks ago, I had never thought about retirement planning, ever. Well, my folks talk about pension and they're retired, but it's just, it's far-fetched. It's like, it's there and I'm here. Yeah.
And that's actually the reality. I work a lot with retirees, and the unfortunate bit is we actually have the retirement planning conversation at the point where we are retiring. You can imagine starting that conversation at 58.
Yeah.
You know, so you've been employed. You find people who have worked maybe even with just one employer all their life. They actually have a plump pension, pension benefit, but they don't even know what their options are. Once they retire, they don't know what annuities are, they don't know income drawdowns. So that conversation starts when the reality hits you that now I'm leaving employment. So what happens then is that then retirement planning for most people is only through a pension plan. You get? You never look at it from you know how you can run a pension plan, but concurrently you're also running other like other liquid or near cash savings plans, you know, so that now at the point of retirement, where even after you purchase, and hopefully we'll break down some of these, you know, terminologies like annuities, where you at the point of retirement, when now you purchase an annuity, at the same time you'll have money to put in treasury bonds, you know, that also will be giving you a passive income. You'll have money maybe in a money market fund for any emergency situation, and from that money market fund, this is where you'll be drawing down money for doing like your health insurance. Because as you know, if there's one thing, even as you're doing your retirement planning, at the back of your mind, you need to understand that seniors medical insurance in Kenya is very costly. You know, it's actually out of reach. So you can imagine, you've worked all these years, you were probably even say director level, or you had a really good job, a good income, you enjoyed a good medical cover from your employer. Then you leave employment and you can't afford that medical cover. You know, while you're in employment, you're able to cover your spouse. Now you're out, you're probably being told to enjoy a similar cover from what you had at your employer. You probably need to part with 300,000 or so, you know, to get a top tier cover. You know, probably of 5 million inpatient, maybe 150,000 outpatient. So you can actually now start seeing the frustrations, you know. But these are things that you can preempt. You know. And if you do your retirement planning early, because remember, at the point of retirement, also income is coming down. You know. Market research shows us that at the point of retirement, 70% of Kenyans don't have an income.
Outside of the employment, that is.
Yes, at the point of retiring. Like 70% of Kenyans don't have an income. And that's why we have, now once like your mom retires or your dad retires, now that burden now falls onto the children.
Child,
you know, now to start taking care
of the parents.
At the same time, 30% of retirees, okay? Or is it 30? Like 30% of retirees can only, their pension benefits or their retirement benefits can only meet 25% of their essential expenses. So even what you're getting, so you've retired, you've purchased the annuity, you have maybe an income drawdown, but it cannot meet your essential. And remember, because you know, when it comes to expenses, we have different classes of expenses.
For sure.
So essential expenses are what you need to live, to survive. You know,
like food, like transport.
The food, the transport. Now maybe for young people, our rent, you know. Hopefully by the time you're retiring, you have a home. Okay. So now you can imagine only meeting 25%. So who will meet the rest of the gap?
And I'm also assuming by the time you're getting to a point of retirement and you've been working all through, your quality of life has also gone up, whereas someone is talking about travel expense or transport expenses at X amount, yours is 5X because you're direct, you're used to the fine things in life. So I totally understand where you're coming from, that's 25%,
Yes. And I think that's why even the quality of life really goes down once you retire. But we have the power in our hands, You can start your retirement planning early. And I think especially for your generation, the younger adults, in their 20s, I have a feeling you'll do an early retirement.
Yeah.
For most people, probably by 45 or 50. Early retirement in Kenya is 50. So at that point, you probably just want to retire. Maybe you travel, go on a cruise ship.
Yes.
So if you don't plan now, you won't have that room to meet. We call that goals expenses. When you plan for a vacation.
Yeah.
Where will you get the money if your income at that point can only cater for 25% of your essential? Then it means you do not have room to actually do anything fun.
Yeah.
You don't have room to navigate your social circles and meet your lifestyle expenses. You don't have room for your discretionary expenses, like go for a spa, go to the spa and just treat yourself. So that's why it's actually really important, because the foundation of this retirement planning is all in your financial planning. So when you're young, the earliest possible, when you start getting an income. Or even if you're out there, you don't have an income, maybe this is when you're trying to figure maybe your professional life. Start having this conversation, so that once there's an income now that starts coming in, you actually know how to go about it.
So now that we understand what financial health is, you see, a thing with my age group, so just so that provide the audience some context, I'm 26. A lot of my friends are around 25, 26, 27. That's the age group I refer to as my age group. So we've gone through the education system, and the one thing we've been taught to do is make money. Beyond being employed, that is, we've been taught to make money. However, I'd been making money for a few years. I just don't know where that money went. I don't know where that money went. And if it wasn't for my father and my mother and my sister, I wouldn't have been saving. They forced me to save before I saw what savings are. So my dad was like, okay, this is how much you're earning, keep away this much. You don't need it. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I'll keep away this much. Because someone wise once told me, when you don't have a plan, follow someone who has a plan until you figure out what your plan is, because you need to go in a direction. And I started saving. I didn't know what else. I started saving with my circle. And then in 2019, I wanted more income. And of course, the natural thing to do is ask your employer for more money because you feel like you've provided the value. But then my employer was like, it's not happening. It's not happening. And it really stressed me. And a friend of mine just asked me, by the way, why are you depending on your employer to give you your money? It's money. It's not your employer who has money. It's you to figure out ways to make that money outside of what you're doing. And that's how my training, consultancy, basically my side hustle life started. This was in 2019. Made money. It was only in 2020 that my money started working for me. 3, 4 years after I started working. And the reason why I started saving purposefully was because I wanted to move out. Right?
Yes.
So I move out, and then I realize I need to save so that I never cost a rent, I never get in a position where I don't have money. So basically, and I remember we had this conversation, my money matters have been guided by fear. Fear of not having, fear of not being able to, fear of da da da. And you see, it's just confined. And then now, beyond saving, people start talking about investments. Then when I started thinking of investments, I thought investments are like, put money somewhere so that you get double the money. And that's the only thing I thought, right?
Yes.
I knew nothing about insurance. And honestly, even till now, I barely know much about insurance. So the question I'm trying to ask is, what's the difference between savings, investments, and insurance? And what's the value in them? Like, when you talk about what savings are, what then is the value of saving? When you talk about investments, what then is the value of investing? When you talk about insurance, what then is the value? Because I think we confuse, and then once you go the wrong place, you expect the wrong value from the wrong. Yeah.
Yes. Wow. Really good question. And I must tell you, you're very fortunate. I'm happy your family, got you started in your financial planning journey. By the way, you may not have put it in those terms, or it wasn't very formal, but that is part of it, starting that savings journey, building and nurturing a savings culture, which is something that many people, even I myself, at your age, honestly, I did very little of savings, actually almost zero, and you get to 30s and you're thinking, so I've been working all those years, but yet you don't have much to show for it. Now, let's try differentiate these three. So when we talk of savings, this is when you set aside money, but for a short term, period. Okay, so savings, we are talking of like very low risk. You're probably setting this money aside to mitigate any emergency. You see, like when you say setting up an emergency fund, then we do that through savings, so it's where you're looking maybe to put a buffer of about 6 months of your monthly expenses. So say if your expenses are at 60,000 each month, so that has catered for your rent, all your utilities, any savings that you do per month, your retirement planning, your hair, all that. When you put everything together and it's, let's say, 60K, so now you target to save up to maybe 360. So at that point now, I have an emergency fund. Should the worst happen, I'm sorted for like the next 6 months. And I think if there's something we learned last year with the COVID pandemic, is anything can happen. We can lose jobs. So many people lost jobs. You could get sick. So what can come to your rescue? What can come to your rescue is that emergency fund. So savings are more driven to that. Or if you're doing if you have a proper savings plan, it should be more towards emergency. And also any short-term goals that you may have. So you want to go on vacation, you want to purchase a vehicle maybe in a year's time. So you put aside some money, say in a money market fund, where you've decided each month you'll be putting aside 50,000, so that in a year you have some 600K and you can purchase your car. So now that is savings. Short term, we can say maybe 1 to 3 years for emergency or for short-term goals. Okay. Now, on the other hand, investing. So when we talk of investing, this is where you're buying like an asset. or you're purchasing like treasury bonds. You probably hear of treasury bonds.
Yes.
You're purchasing shares, equities. I know, especially for young people, you have room. You know, you have room to actually take some room for like some risk.
Yeah.
So these are actually the kind of investments at this point that you should really be picking up on.
Yeah.
You know, so now investing is where you buy either an asset or the bonds or shares.
Yes.
And these then make money for you. So let's say you go and purchase the Safaricom share.
Yes.
You purchase it at 20 shillings and you're able, maybe 6 months down the line, you know, before their books closure, you're able to sell it at 28 bob.
Yeah.
So that capital gain, you know, from 20 to 28, now that is an investment.
Yeah.
And I know I've talked of 6 months, but investments are generally longer term.
Yes.
You know, you work with a long-term mentality
yeah.
when you're investing. You get to enjoy dividends, you know, from your investments. Like if you invest, say, in rentals, you decide to go into real estate.
Yeah.
You know, and you put up, you know, rentals, and you're getting a monthly income. Now that is investing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Question.
Yes.
So, this is a guy who didn't know anything about shares. The shares, I started, well, we did business studies
yes.
in school.
Yes.
But honestly, it just wasn't making sense. You know, I just didn't understand what, I was doing it to pass the exam, to pass the KCSE, and then also in business, because we had business classes in campus. I just didn't understand the reality of it all. So companies are selling shares, and then there's also a risk of investing in a company that might go down, all these other risks. So are there things young people can do outside of the textbook investment? Like, for instance, my friend Eve bakes.
Yes.
And she sells her cakes. Is that an investment? Like, what's the difference between biashara and investment? That's actually my question.
Okay. So like now for Eve,
yeah,
if she takes part of her income,
yeah,
you know, goes and purchases like the baking powder, whatever she needs now for the cakes, you know, the flour, the milk, maybe the eggs and so on. So she's actually putting money into her business.
Yes.
Okay, so that's you're actually investing into your business, because now that business will actually make you money. Okay. So investing is not only, you know, like opening a shop and you know like maybe selling clothes, like even your side hustle.
Yeah.
You know, so if you do consultancy and you're actually putting money into that consultancy.
Yeah.
You know, if you're doing that, you're actually investing into that business, because you expect maybe in the next 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, your consultancy maybe now will be generating X income revenue for you. So yes, that's actually investing. So there are different ways of investing. We do have financial instruments. Yeah. So now maybe for me, I talk more on the financial instruments, such as now the treasury bonds and the equities. Yes. So
so the instrument is what is different. The channel of doing it is what is different.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about insurance. The big guy insurance.
Yes.
What is insurance? Because and if I may, a lot of insurance companies are also confusing us, because they're telling you to invest in a policy. You know, like it's the language sometimes that they use that confuses us as young people, because am I investing or am I save through a policy? Like, so I'm like, what is what? What's the difference? Yeah.
So now, insurance, in its very basic term, okay, Insurance, you're pretty much just transferring the risk.
Yeah.
Okay, so insurance is about protection. You know, insurance basically is about protection. Yes, we do have different like classes of insurance, and if I may narrow down in on like life insurance, we do have what we call endowment policies, which are really consumed. I think those are the most common ones, especially like for education policies, when you start saving for your child, or like a savings policy where you save for the next 12 years and you get a lump sum, but also during that time you still have like life, you know, a life cover in the event of death. You are also protected in the event of critical illness. You're also protected in should you become disabled. And those are key things. When you're taking a savings plan, you know, that is an endowment plan, because endowment mixes savings plus life insurance. It marries the two. When you're taking that, ensure that other than the death benefits, because insurance, like life insurance, is not just about death. You also get to enjoy living benefits. I call them living benefits in the event that you contract or you're diagnosed with a critical illness or in the event of disability. So what insurance does, you know, is it adds that extra layer of protection. And I like to look at insurance as both an investment and a savings, by the way, because, for example, Clara, when you invest in your health insurance, and you probably, like, for now, there's an insurance company, there's a brand where at your age you can get a cover of 500,000 inpatient and 50,000 outpatient for 19,873 shillings. Okay, that is for someone
annual or monthly?
Annual.
Oh wow.
Yes. So that is for someone between 18 and 30 years. So like 19K, that's almost like 1,000 something per month, isn't it?
Yes.
And you're able to access all the top tier hospitals. You name them: Nairobi, Aga Khan, Mpisha, Karen. So if you pay that 19K or 19,800 and you're hospitalized, and the insurance company covers you up to the 500,000, you know, or you go for outpatient services and you actually use up your limit of 50,000, do you see insurance actually saves you money? Because if you didn't have that insurance, then you'd have to dip into your pocket and pay. Okay. Yes. So actually, an insurance product is actually an investment. You know, it is an investment. For example, when you take up a cover, say for your motor vehicle, you know, and your vehicle is totaled, you know, or you get into an accident. And maybe the repair costs are 150,000. If you had a third-party cover, for instance, you'd have to cough the 150 from your pocket. Okay, but probably maybe because of some 40,000 or 30 something thousand that you paid as annual premium, the insurance company then puts that entire bill. Or if your vehicle is totaled, you know, they actually give you, remember the 600K that we had saved for the car, they actually give you that 600K. So they indemnify you. They take you back to your original financial position. So how I look at savings, investments, and insurance is that the three are very key to your financial plan. Because I do come across, before we start our conversations, I come across clients who are very, Mama Bima, me, insurance, no. I would rather put money in, you know, a money market. And at that point, maybe their child is 6 months old and they're saving probably for their secondary school. You get. So when you sit down and you talk with them, and you're like, so for the next 12 years, you'll just be putting money in that money market, where money is very easily accessible, because now that's the other thing with savings, you can actually easily access the money. So why don't you lock it away in a long-term savings plan? Okay? And even as that money is locked away, should you, now this is the beauty with insurance, should something happen to you along the way, you know, say 2 years later, so Clara, you've taken a money market fund, you're saving 5,000 on a monthly basis into your money market. And I, Mama Bima, I've taken an education policy for the same 5,000 through an insurance company. So 2 years down the line, God forbid the worst happens. Okay, so we are diagnosed with critical illnesses. Okay, so the most you can do for yourself is you'll be able to access
the exact the money I had saved with interest.
Yes, with interest. But for me, I'll be able to access this sum assured. So if my sum assured for maybe the term I had taken was $1 million, I'll get my million. You know, the 1 million to go to my treatment. You get, and even as I get now that living benefit of the critical illness, I will still get the benefit of maturity.
What you had saved now.
Yes. So if I were to get maybe another 2 million when the plan matures, I will still get it when it matures. So all of them are important. We looked at your savings are for your short-term goals, okay? For your emergency situations. Your investments are for your long-term. Insurance is here to protect you, but at the same time, help you with your savings. So what you do is you marry the three into your financial plan, and you'll have a very robust financial plan.
Okay, so lastly, a young lady or gentleman wants to start their journey. They've been working, but they've just not figured out what to do. They've been working, they've been getting money, they've been getting by. So what are the first 2 steps you would advise them to take? Like just individual, as on an individual level, what are the first 2 steps you would advise them to take towards financial health?
Okay. Very nice question. The one thing that we don't do, Clara, is we are trying to do our financial planning without a budget. Do you have a budget?
Personally?
Yes. Good.
And interestingly, when I started doing my budget on Excel, is when my money started working for me.
Exactly.
By the way, and I right now I know exactly how much I have.
Good.
Everywhere. Like I know to the T. Yes. I know how much I have. So if the bank tries to take 2 bob,
you know.
I know.
You even know the ledger fee that they cut each month. Good. So now, budgeting, and I cannot overemphasize this, a budget is the foundation for a sound money management. You know, like for you to be able to sort your finances, you need a budget. So how do we get started? I would advise this young person, track your expenses for 3 months. You know, you could start like in April, you know, ensure that for April, May, June, you track your expenses. And it's very easy actually to track your expenses. We have so many apps. Nowadays, even on phone, you could do an Excel sheet. What I use what is called a Pesa Planner by a fantastic financial coach. Yes, Juliet. Yes. And I think that's something very exciting. We have people who are doing amazing things on, you know, to just sort of like in the financial planning scene. So I use Pesa Planner on my end. And basically you just track your expenses for 3 months so that you get to know how much is coming in. That's one thing you need to be very keen on. So fine, I have my income maybe from my salary. What else am I making on the side? Maybe you have a honey business that you sell, you know, how much is coming in from there. You have a consultancy, maybe you do some proposals for people. So within a 3 months period, you'll get to understand what's your average income, but also where is my money going? which is very important because now, once you do that, you'll even be able to classify your expenses. You know, you'll know, okay, these are my discretionary ones, this is my lifestyle.
What do you mean by discretionary? Yeah, that's the what do you mean by discretionary?
So now, discretionary, these are the expenses you use just to treat yourself.
Like a treat.
This is now, because I mean, even as you're working and you're budgeting, you need to have some room for entertainment. You get yes, and no, Najembia Asante for all the hard work, you know. You need to have some for lifestyle. Lifestyle is what will help you just navigate your social circles. You need to be well groomed. You know, maybe there's a baby shower you're attending, so gifts for friends. You know, because those are some of
family donation. You know, something happened. Send us something.
Exactly. Now, then you have what you call goals. Goals expenses, where you have said, I'm going for a vacation. I'm buying a maybe X. I'm buying a vehicle. So any goals that you may have, now those are goals expenses. Then we have security expenses, you know, where you're setting up an emergency fund. So there's X amount that, you know, each month I put aside towards my emergency fund. You remember the emergency fund that we were building for 360K? Yes, that's now, those are goals. Then you have now your essential expenses, what you cannot live without. You know, your rent, your food, etc. So for you to be able now to track all this, what you need to do is you need to track your expenses over now those 3 months, and then after that now you'll be able to write out your budget. Like you need, if possible, you know, write it out. You know. So number one, if you're getting onto this journey, you know, of savings or financial planning, number one, start with a budget, you know. And then second step, I would advise get a good financial advisor. Okay. And someone who understands the market. You get someone who's knowledgeable, passionate about teaching, because I'll tell you, this money matters. For you to get a proper foundation, you need someone who will hold your hand. You know, and probably after some time, then you're able now, it becomes just part of your culture that every month I'm putting aside this is going into my investments. But before you can get to that, you need someone to help you get started. Okay. And with someone who's knowledgeable, like what I do as Mama Bima is I run an agency. Okay, I run an agency where I represent all brands. You know, like I have selected the brands I work for carefully, because then I know who are the top fund managers. You know, who has, say, the best unit trust products. You know, who has the best money market fund. So I'm able to have like my top 4 money market fund providers. Then if it's a client who wants, say, the equity fund, you know, I know which fund managers have the best equity funds, you know. And pretty much even in insurance, you know, I know that if a client, say, wants motor insurance, I do know which companies have the best motor books, you know, in terms of rates, where I will save you money, you know, because maybe for your vehicle that's valued at 600K, I know company X, which would charge you 6% to give you a comprehensive cover. But I also know Y, where we'll get the same cover at 3.75%. So you see, when you're starting this journey, you need to look for someone who'll save you money. For the cover we talked about, the health cover, for 19,873. For the same cover, I know another provider who'll charge you 46,000. Same cover. So with a good sort of like independent advisor, I'm able to just sit, you know, at the top and understand my client, what are her needs, what are her savings needs, so where are we best placed. So you'll find us all over. You'll find, like, maybe for your emergency fund, we're in company X. For the investments that we've decided for equities, we've gone to a different investment bank. So at least when you have that, you then have someone who will hold your hand. Look for someone honest. Is it honest? So make sure you shop around.
Yes.
Shop around. Don't just pick the first person you get, and
I understand you.
Yes.
And I think in the next video, please watch the next video, we'll go deeper into what to look for exactly in a financial advisor, someone you can work with socially. I know for sure there are a lot of people who are watching and they're interested to get in touch with you to know more about how they can leverage your services. So let us know, where should we find you? What's the best platform?
Yes. So I'm very passionate about promoting financial literacy, and I'm really working hard on building a community on social media. That was one of the key things I learned from last year when our business was really disrupted. So we couldn't do all the door-to-door that we're used to, door-to-door meetings. So I'm building a community on my Instagram, Mama Bima Kenya, and on Facebook, Mama Bima Kenya. And I do a lot of live sessions. And by the way, very informative. We learn about everything from investments, retirement planning, what are individual pension plans, annuities, income drawdowns, money market funds. So I would encourage you, follow me on social media. You'll get my numbers there. You will also get my email address. And if you're out there, you're a group of young adults, and you want to enjoy like what Clara and her girls, we went through a really good financial planning session. And I remember the last session, the question they were asking, Mama Bima, you do this for free. And honestly, I love giving back, especially to young people. Because I want you to learn from maybe like the mistakes that we made. We do not want you to keep falling into the same holes, So I love giving back to young people. So just reach out. We can always organize, evenings work really best for me, work well, or early mornings. So you just come online, 3 of you, 5 of you. I think by the time we even have 3 sessions, you'll be amazed. You'll be able to look at your finances differently. You'll be thinking about goal setting, setting your short term, doing vision boards, like these are things that we actually went through with Clara and her friends. So I would advise, just reach me on social media, reach out on WhatsApp. My number is 0739 040 400. So reach me on WhatsApp. Let's start engaging. It's a safe space. We keep everything really confidential, and it's a good place to actually just kickstart your financial planning journey.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on to the show and enlightening our audience on financial health, literacy, and we're going to go into another video to go deeper into where we've left off. So thank you as the audience for listening, tuning in. I know some of you are commenting. Thank you so much. Remember to follow Afreecanah on all our social platforms. So if you're not too much into video, we're also on audio platforms like Spotify and Podbean. You can also listen to the podcast there. Remember, follow Afreecanah, subscribe, like, comment. Imagine, it's free. It's very free. Until the next episode, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a lovely day.